Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about finding z-scores using your calculator. And if you will recall from a previous lesson, we discovered how to find z-scores using a table. And in our example, we're going to use this same example to do this on a calculator. But here's our table. And we were asked to find the z-score associated with the area under the curve that equals 0.02. So what we did with our table is we looked at the table and we found the area that was associated with 0.02. And we found that to be, actually not on the table, but we found that, if I could get this cursor right, we found that to be, there was a 0.0197 we found, and then we found 0.0202. So that was associated with the z-score of negative 2.05 and negative 2.06. So it was somewhere in between. And we just had to kind of guesstimate where that would be. So here's how we're going to do that same thing on a calculator. So we're going to do that, and by the way, when we have this, let me go ahead and put the slide back up, that when you're finding a z-score using your calculator, if you have a TI-83, it doesn't have this feature, so you're going to need to do the calculations the old school way. And to find the z-score on a calculator, we're going to use the inverse normal section, and that's under the distribution menu. So we're going to find the same thing, 0.02, the z-score associated with 0.02 to the left under the curve. Okay, so what we're going to do with our calculator is we're going to go to the distribution menu, which is second, vars or distribution, and now we're going to use inverse. We're going to use inverse normal, so that's number 3. So we're either going to scroll down here like this and choose number 3. So now we have inverse normal. Now if you have a newer calculator, it's going to come up with a different screen, and we'll show you that to you in a minute. So what it's asking for right here, the calculator is asking, what is the area under the curve? So we're going to tell it 0.02 and close our parentheses, and then we're simply going to hit enter. And so the z-score associated with this is negative 2.05. We could round that up to 0.54. Okay, so now eventually what this, if you have an older calculator like this, what the calculator is asking here, it's also asking the area under the curve, and then it's asking for mu and sigma. So we're going to get the same answer, but I'm going to show you, of course we're talking about the standard normal curve, so mu is going to be 0 and sigma is going to be 1. But if you entered it like this, if you went second, vars, number 3, okay, the inverse normal, the area under the curve is going to be 0.02, and then if we put a comma, and for mu we're going to enter 0 and another comma, standard deviation, sigma will be 1, close the parentheses, and we see we have the same answer. Okay, now if you have a fancy calculator, it's going to look like this. Okay, so when you go to this menu second and you choose vars or distribution, choose number 3. Now it's already pre-programmed to have the mu as 0 and sigma as 1. So you're just simply going to enter the area under the curve here. And then if you hit enter, it'll ask you, do you want to change mu or not? Do you want to change sigma or not? And then paste. It's going to paste this information in for us to inverse normal function, just like we manually entered it in with the older model. And then we hit enter to arrive at the solution, and there we have negative 2.053. Okay, so let's do a couple of examples here. I have some examples on the slideshow. Let's see. Okay, so example A says to find the z-score with an area of 0.9 to the left, and I'm just going to go for the old calculator here. So I'm going to go second, distribute number 3. So I got my inverse normal function, and this is to the left. So I'm good to enter this as 0.9. 0.9, that's the area under the curve to the left. And so my solution for this is going to be 1.28. 1.28. And generally speaking, we would just round it to the hundreds, so that would be fine. Now, the next the next example says B, find the z-score with an area of 0.1 to the right. Now, when it's asking you for the z-score with the area to the right, the way we would enter it here is we would just take 1 minus. So we'll go ahead and go to inverse normal function, and we'll say 1 minus, because it's asking us to the right, 1 minus 0.1, and obviously we know it's the same as what we just entered, but so the solution here is going to be 1.28. The z-score is going to be 1.28. Now, in our final example, it says find the z-score such that the probability that z is less than z sub aught equals 0.025. So less than, we're looking for area under the curve to the left because it's less than. So we would enter this area to the left, second, go to distribute, and then we're going to do inverse, same thing we've been working with. Now it's asking for to the left, so we just simply enter the value here. This is area under the curve, and we're coming up with the z-score. So we enter 0.025 and close the parentheses, enter. So the z-score associated with this is going to be negative 1.96, basically. Negative 1.96. Okay, so there's a little intro into finding the z-score associated when they give you area under the curve. And hopefully this is helpful to you, and we will look forward to seeing you on the next session.